Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build for the Alchemist class mod in Baldur's Gate 3. This is the one that was made by TheLightKeeper. There is another Alchemist class mod I will be covering in the future, but this one just dropped on console. And in this video we'll be focusing on the Doctrine of Destruction, which deals a little extra damage with their alchemical solutions. We'll be getting into all of that. The other subclass I'll briefly touch on whenever we get to them. Now, this gives you some really cool abilities. You get different formulae here, which gives you different throwables. On top of this, the Alchemist also can enhance your items that you already have. So your potions you can throw and they'll get extra healing. You have different resources here and you're actually able to create your own potions, which is a really fun way to go about playing. And the alchemical throw here, which will give you a bonus to your throw distance equal to double your intelligence modifier, which is the main spellcasting stat for this class. As for formulae here, there's a lot of really fun ones here. Now, as far as the formulae here go, I like the Alchemist Fire, which gives you a fiery surface you can throw, the catalyze, and then also the Acid Vial is quite nice too, as acid damage is the least resisted compared to the others that we have, like Poison. Now, there's also one that can apply Bleed with piercing damage, which is nice, and it's bleeding for 10 turns, which can actually buff up some other classes, most notably the Wild Heart Barbarian. And then we also got the Tanglefoot Bag, which creates a tar-like thing, which can restrain targets for 10 turns. There are some other good ones like the Healing Draught, which can give you a basic heal that you can apply to your team. There's also the Alchemical Enhanced Soap here, which will give you advantage on persuasion skill checks. If you're the face of the party, that's the best to go with, but if you're going for pure damage, we'll go with those. And as for ability scores, we need high intelligence. It's going to be a big boost to this class. 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 16 intelligence, and you can swap some of these points around and put them into wisdom like this. And for skill proficiencies, you always want to have really doesn't matter a massive amount. We do have the double proficiency and expertise in medicine, which is great. Level 2 gives us our subclass, and the Doctrine of Cruelty is almost like a barbarian kind of. You do get a rage potion, and the Doctrine of Preservation here is kind of like a rogue or a druid. You get the ability to create some difficult terrain with your potions. Obviously, they're not a complete adaptation, but that's just my thoughts on them. Now, with the Doctrine of Destruction, which we focus on for this, we get some subclass features, the Entropic Theory Adrenaline Rush. When you catalyze an alchemical solution that deals damage, you gain 5 meters of movement speed for the turn. And the Surge of Genius, whenever you land a critical hit on an enemy, you recover a catalysis point, which is used for creating our potions here. And then we also have the Black Salt Infusion, your alchemical throws that deal damage, consume a catalyst point, but allows you to throw 2 copies of the item at separate targets, which is pretty cool. And then also subclass Instrument of Destruction. You've been trained in the use of alchemical items in combat. When you throw an alchemical item, it deals extra damage equal to your intelligence modifier. And at level 3, we get another point here. We get another formulae. So you can add in the healing one, or again, if you're the face of the party, the alchemically enhanced soap works well. And then we get to take some discoveries. These are really nice subclass or class bonuses that we can get. A lot of these are just adding your intelligence modifier to different skill checks, but I like the Intellect Carapace here, which gives you your intelligence modifier added to your armor class. And then you can also add it to your initiative, which basically means you're going to go first due to the game using a D4 die for your initiative, unless you're using the D20 die. There's another good one here, like the Physical Conditioning, which gives you 2 health points for every level you have in the Alchemist. If you take this to level 20, that's 40 extra health. And even at level 12, that's 24 extra health. So that's quite nice. Now, we are going to go to level 20 for this build, but you don't have to go to level 20. It does go all the way up to 12 and work perfectly like that. I think it's best to go with the increase to our initiative and to our armor class, as we only have late armor proficiency, which isn't really enough. Now, once we hit level 4, we get another point here, and we get the Black Salt Bombs catalyze here, which, and the normal version of it. This gives us a 4d6 explosion that doubles 2 structures, and bonus action 2 catalyst points for that. At this point, I think it's best to just increase our intelligence here. It's going to give us a better armor class initiative and all that jazz. At level 5, we get to take another 2 formulae here with some new ones like the Malice here, which can cause some poison damage and be thrown or coded to weapons. I guess this is one that we already have. The Alchehest here, which will dismantle other alchemical energies here into prima materia. It's a lot of different cool abilities. There's the Oxidizing Agent Acid here, which can eat through armor class, which will reduce the target's armor class. The Fleetfoot's kind of nice too, increasing movement speed and grants immunity to surface effects. Then we go with the Acid Oxidizing Agent and the Malice options there at level 5. And then level 6, we get a nice feature, the Hasty Throw. Throw an alchemical item from your inventory as a bonus action. You gain the bonus to the throw distance equal to twice your intelligence modifier, but don't get the additional benefits of an alchemical throw. And then subclass feature, Hit the Deck. Having to react quickly to sudden unstable explosions is heightened to your instincts to danger. When you're about to make a dexterity saving throw against an area of effect, you can use your reaction to dive out of the way, reducing the incoming damage to 0, and you get knocked prone afterwards. Kind of a cool way to go about doing that. So yeah, that's a nice ability as a reaction there. Then we get to take another formulae here. So again, these are kind of personal preference. We'll go with the Alchemist here. And then for the discoveries, I think it's actually good at this point to take the physical conditioning. This will increase our health at this point by 14, and then later by 40, which is a huge boost to our overall survivability. Level 8, extra bonus action, fast hands, and a catalyst point. We'll go with an ability score improvement to take up our intelligence, but if you want to get really buff and high health, you can take the tough feat for additional health points at per level. Level 9 gives us 2 more formulae here. We get access to some new ones like the Serpent's Breath, which will give us a poison damage cloud. There's an Adrenal Inducer, which gives your team haste, which is also quite nice. And then there's also the Auril's Fury here, which gives you a cold damage bomb and can possibly freeze creatures, which was huge because freeze sets up double damage from force, thunder, and bludgeoning damage. Great. And there's also another choice here with the Confounder, which does poison damage but confuses enemies or befuddles enemies. It says it confuses whenever you select it over here. So it says confuse, but it's befuddle, not the same condition. But we'll go with that there. It's pretty fun, gives them different options. Level 10 gives us the Swift Throw. Throw an alchemical solution from your inventory as a bonus action. Unlocking its true potential, you gain a bonus to the distance. So that allows you to throw your health potions, making them even stronger. And we get the subclass feature Chemical Warfare. Grenades you throw have advantage on their damage rolls. That's pretty good. Doubling up the damage. Just going to flat out increase the overall damage. Now for our discoveries, there's the Discombobulate, which is a bonus action attack, which does 1d4 damage, but it's an attempt to stun the target, which is huge because when they're stunned, they lose their turn. There's also the Mercurial Stride here, which will add our intelligence modifier to movement speed, which is nice. And then all the other skill check abilities. So you can add intelligence modifier to persuasion skill checks, which is quite nice. But I think the Discombobulate, besides being a fun thing to say, is also quite good to stun a target, especially a high value target like a spellcaster. And we get to take another formula here. I think that the Adrenal Inducer is good, or the Serpent's Breath, your choice there. Haste grenades, just nice to have. Level 12 gives us a class feature, the Magnum Opus. The path to the great work is now open to you. You only need to rest and reflect on all you learned thus far. And we also get to take another discovery here. We may as well take the increase for our movement speed. But again, you can go with the persuasion skill check bonus, especially if you're a good aligned character. Now at this point, alert for the +5 initiative would be nice, but we already got a +5 to our initiative from this here intelligence stat. So not as needed on this build. And if we want to make our character unkillable, the tough feat will give us an additional 2 health points per level. Now the next level at 13, and you don't have to go this high. Since you see there, we don't get new options. We'll take the Serpent's Breath there. And the grease bottle is quite nice, or the oil flask there. Flammable or creating a grease surface. Now, once we hit level 14 here, we do get a special action from our subclass. So this is a Black Salt Trap Catalyze. 8d8 plus 4d force damage. Swiftly craft a devastating mine that must be placed and then attacked before exploding for the 48 to 104 force damage. Not for the faint of heart, nor the slow of foot. Huge, big boom. Level 15 gives us another formulae here. At this point, personal preference. We already got kind of everything that we want. Flash Blinder can blind targets and do fire damage, which is quite nice. So we could go with something like that. At level 16, we get another discovery here. We already, again, got everything that we could ever want, but we can go with a resistance to psychic damage. I guess that's nice, especially against mind flayers. And for our next feat, I'd actually recommend going with the increase our dexterity. This will actually give us another +1 to our initiative. We don't need alert at this point unless you're afraid of getting surprised, which is a legitimate concern, but we're going to be going first in pretty much return to combat, and that dexterity gives us increased armor class and hit chance. And now for our level 17, we get 2 more formulae here, so I guess just go with whatever there you don't already have. You get pretty much all this here. Level 18 gives us some subclass features. When you catalyze an alchemical item that deals damage, you gain 5 meters movement speed for the turn. Black Salt Infusement, whenever your alchemical throws that deal damage consume a catalyst point, it will allow you to throw 2 copies of it at separate targets. Calculated Catastrophe, this now allows your throws to be treated as attack rolls so they can critically hit. And then also the Surge of Genius, when you land a critical hit, you recover a catalyst point. It's pretty huge. And then again, we get another choice here. Nothing else is combat related, so Sound Reasoning will give you a boost to your overall face stats. You should obviously take that a little bit sooner if you're going to go that route. And for the final formulae, we get to take one of these here. Oil Flask or the Soap. It's your choice. And then at final level here, we get 1 more discovery. Again, nothing super necessary here. And then our final feat, which we can use for a dexterity increase, or the Lucky Feat, which is nice. Yeah, there's a lot of, if there's other feats that you do prefer taking, you can go with those, but getting our dexterity up to 20, our intelligence got boosted up to 24. Yeah, we're pretty strong. All right, so we got 303 health and 31 armor class with this setup here. So this is nice because we get a +7 from our intelligence, +5 from dexterity, +3 from shield, +1 from the ring of protection, +2 from the vest of soul rejuvenation, 1 from the cloak of protection, 1 from our gloves, and 1 from our shoes. I'm obviously using all the maximum damage or maximum armor class items. We don't have to use the wondrous gloves here. It's probably better to use something a little different. Even the hellish gloves can give us some extra. What's cool though is unarmed attacks and throwing attacks are treated the same. So this can actually apply bleed on some throwing attacks and deals extra necrotic. So the hellish gloves would be the best there. And also nice to have the disintegrating nightwalkers for misty step, so we can take down a little bit of armor class, increase our overall survivability. Vest of soul rejuvenation, clothing plus our armor class, it gets pretty crazy. Cloak of protection, good armor class, and then also the mask of soul perception will give us an increase to our attack rolls. Although there's other options like the haste helm, more movement speed early on in the game, and yeah, really personal preference there. We have Baldur Alu for our weapon here, which has the melody, which is kind of nice because you can pop the melody and do a little extra thunder damage. Hellrider Longbow for that +3 to initiative will never go last. You can swap this out for Gaunter Mail because this will give you haste as well. At the Killer Sweetheart for the free crit and the Ring of Protection, although you can go with anything else you prefer for rings, and the Amulet of Greater Health just to maximize our overall survivability. So yeah, you can see here we got all of our alchemical throws, and then these are going to throw our healing potions, so you got that 10d4 +20 from that potion. The Swift Throws does give us, I guess, quicker options. Then we have our Alchemy here, where we can brew up our potions using our Catalyst points here. So there's a Catalyzer Alchemy, so this is out of combat versus in combat, so you can create these. They're expired if they don't get used within 5 turns. And then we also have the Hasty Throw there too. That Black Salt Trap is one of our strongest. It's a mine, so you can set this up before you get into combat, then you got yourself that nice explosion. And you can see it there as an item. It does use your bonus action, but you can also drop that down on the ground. Now you can be sneaky and set up these traps before getting into combat, and that's just a nice way to be able to prioritize your different options whenever you get into a fight. So I'd recommend dropping some of these down onto the ground. They only last for, some of them only last for a few turns, but yeah, it just sets up some extra explosions, which is pretty fun to have there. So, all right, so we want this to go boom, and we can do that. So we're going to catalyze an item here, and you can use anything really. Fire is going to be best, like the flash blinder there, which can blind people. So we're going to create this and then go with a throwing of that item. So you can go there. There's our flash blinder and gives that minus bonus there. So we'll throw that into the large group. Boom. That caused blindness to a number of targets there. Nice way to start off combat with them having disadvantage on their attack rolls. So I ate up my bonus actions by accident. I meant to use the normal throw here. So we're just going to throw some of the other stuff that we have sitting around, like the smoke powder bombs. So we're going to hit this here and trigger a big boom. So there you go. Yeah, that's pretty big. It made a quick save. Yeah, that actually took out a lot of targets. So those are good. That's why they use 5 catalyst points. That actually made a massive nuke that took out pretty much everyone in the surrounding area. And unfortunately, it knocked down Shadowheart too. So we got to use our action to save her. Or you can use the alchemical throw and throw your potion of supreme healing, which has a larger area there. And that was good enough. A nice 51 healing. We were barely hit there because the explosion radius on those is huge. But yeah, we didn't get hit too bad. May as well throw another health potion too, just to give ourselves that extra heal. Now this is fun. I'm not sure what's causing this mod to have the enemies have a very large attack radius, but we can return the favor with that greater Kashigo counter, which with the gloves there will apply bleed or also do the necrotic damage. All right, so we'll go with another catalyze there, and we'll create a black salt trap because that's pretty good. So that does use one of our bonus action and eats through our options there. But we can throw certain items, but we can also drop down on the ground if you don't want to use that action. So we're going to throw it there, hitting these 2 targets probably, and lining the shot up. Oh, they can get opportunity attacks. I'm not sure what's giving them that very large radius, but we'll do our throwing attack here. Throwing that black salt trap, and boom, path is interrupted for whatever reason. Oh, we got it. Boom, that hit them, but it didn't explode. So what we'll follow that up with is another throw of a exploding item. This will be dangerous. The sanguine explosions are pretty powerful. This is probably going to take out everyone here. Boom. Yeah, massive explosion that ended up completely obliterating poor Minsk there, and Shadowheart got knocked somewhere. Oh, she's still alive with 6 health. And we're all out of solutions, so we're going to use the discombobulate and punch this guy in the throat and maybe take away his next turn or completely take him out. And it's our turn again, so we'll catalyze another option of damage. Some of them obviously do a lot more damage than others. The Black Salt Bomb, we'll use this because it's a little bit lower cost. We're running low on the catalyst points there, so that's something to keep in mind. And we'll go ahead with throwing it there. So there's the Black Salt Bomb. does force and fire damage. Boom, we'll attack that target, and that was enough to take him on 24 and 21. Pretty crazy. So yeah, that is the Alchemist in Baldur's Gate 3. Pretty crazy with the damage output that you can do because of those bombs being so massive. You can, again, do them outside of combat, set them up so that you get into combat and go with a big explosion. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below. I'll catch y'all in the next video.